Hey guys, Clumsy here, and welcome back to ETS2. Looks like someone forgot to clean their truck. This was the skin I was talking about in the last episode. This is also by Lizzie, and it's a very different themed paint job, isn't it? I like the... I'm not a fan of dirty trucks in general, but it does add a lot of flavor to the truck. I'm not sure if you guys are into that, but we will be going with this paint job for today. It's not that bad. It seems a bit abstract, like an artwork. Yeah, we can think of it like that. If you guys are a bit on the OCD level and feeling more like it's too icky to drive, at least inside it's not too bad. Yeah, at least inside we were able to clean up. So how are you guys doing? Thank you for tuning in to another episode of ETS2. Up for another round of Q&As. We have a lot in store for us, but before all that I would like to make an announcement. You guys might have seen it already, but this is the first time I'm going to mention it in the videos. We now have a Patreon. I was able to create the Patreon page now. I spent my entire Sunday working on that. I was thinking of setting it up, so in case anyone's interested, you guys can go and check it out. And let me explain what that is for and what I think about that, the entire topic, and why I decided to start one now. First and foremost though, it's a bit weird that this is not adjusting. And let me show you the route later. We're actually clipping through somehow. That is a bit weird. Why is this like that? Can I not fit through? This is our trailer, right? Yes. Super weird. Maybe he doesn't want to accept it because my truck is too dirty. No way I'm sticking to that one. Do I have the wrong size of tires or something? That is the strangest thing. There we go. Just a bit more force is necessary sometimes. That was so weird. I think my tires are a bit, I don't know, wrongly sized or something. Too bad you can't adjust the fifth wheel here, unlike in normal trucks. Anyway, yeah. So quite dirty, but still a beautiful truck. Don't worry, we'll clean it up when we get to the destination somehow, or maybe for the next episode. We are going to cross over to the UK now, as many people have suggested. We will be going to Ireland, and we'll be exploring that for the first time in this series. As you can see, all these are white. As you can see, I have not had too much exposure in the UK because they drive on the wrong side of the road. I'm sure a lot of Brits will react against that. But yeah, I'm not really used to that kind of layout, so I tried to minimize it before, but I think now would be a good time to get used to it again. Alright. Anyway, so let me expound on the Patreon bit. What is Patreon in the first place? If you've never heard about it, and if you have, bear with me, right? Because some people have not heard about it yet. What is Patreon, and why did I decide to start that page? So Patreon is a platform that empowers content creators and other artists, and it gets its inspiration from other existing, from the system from long ago, from like medieval times and stuff, when artists were commissioned by people saw the potential, saw the art, appreciated the art of other people, like for example painters, and they would pay them to do artworks for them. That's basically how it went before. That's basically how artists earned money before. And recently that kind of business model has changed with the technology. it became, instead of a patronage system, like someone sponsoring you, it became like an ad-based system now, where everything is free, and the ones which are ultimately paying are the big companies by paying for ads and stuff, so other people can see the ads and in turn will discover their products, and in turn will pay for will purchase their products. Yeah, so that's basically what is the common system nowadays, this ad system, I would call it. And it has its pros and cons, right? In one end, it is these videos that we create are all free in YouTube. Oh, that's a very nice train. If Scotsman is watching, trains. So, oh man, I love that dog bone interchange. So it's been a very different setup nowadays. That everything is ads based, everything is free, quote unquote free, and people don't need to pay to watch or to get content anymore, right? Everything is free on the net. The only thing you have to pay for is, the only price you have to pay is you have to watch some ads. Yeah, that's ultimately the price, which is nice. But it also dissipates the empowerment, you know. It's hard to support someone indirectly just via ads, especially with the platform being as unstable as it is. You can see a lot of full-time YouTubers really having trouble with ads. I think very limited people can survive just based on ads, because it's such a low revenue stream. That means it's such low paying, so low paying, that you will not be able to live off it unless you're into the millions subscribers and views range. So it's a very finicky system, and a lot of people, and someone, I forgot the name of the founder, founded Patreon to go back to the roots of the system of having like a patronage system, having quote unquote sponsors, and directly empowering the artists that they support instead of relying on ads. So they know that the artists that they trust in, that they believe in, are supported and are well compensated enough that they can do what they do best, yeah, which is to provide artworks, contents, and whatnot. Translating that in YouTube terms and translating that to my scenario, it's me making these videos, and if anyone is willing to support me with that, wants to make sure that I continue making videos, then they can support me directly via Patreon. Yeah, because every one of you guys who watch me, you all support me indirectly, and it's a huge thanks to you guys, because I earn some money based on that, and that helps me a lot. You know, it's not my full-time job, so I can't live off it. I can probably it probably fund some of my meals, some of my groceries. Yeah, so I do get something out of it, but for sure it's not enough to make a living. So this is all a hobby. But why did I decide to start a Patreon? Because I wanted to take things more seriously. So as you guys might know, we recently hit 10k subs, and things are looking good for us in the channel. The community is growing, people are getting active, and we're making friends, and we're sharing stuff with each other. And I wanted to become more active when it comes to interacting with you guys, and building the community, you know, growing the community, and making more quality videos for you, both in quality and quantity term of sense. So I wanted to focus on that. But as I was thinking about the next steps on how we can grow and how I can basically serve you better by providing you more quality and quantity in content, I was able to think of a couple of roadblocks along the way. And at the end of the day, it's all about the limitation is mainly the monetary part. So I'm really proud of the Patreon page that I was able to create. It's not really fancy, no pictures, no videos yet or anything. Although I do plan to make a video at some point, but not yet. But I spent my entire Sunday writing the article, creating the different rewards and stuff. So I'm really proud of it. So I really recommend that you check it out. It doesn't matter if you become a patron or not, but would really ask that you check it out just to read it and see what you think and tell me what you think. Yeah, you can comment here in the video, so go and check it out. The link is in the video description. You can look at there is a become a patron section now in the video description of every video that will be released, and there's a link to the Patreon page, and you can check out the article there. So I highly recommend that you check it out, you read it, and you let me know what you think in the comments here, because I really pour my heart out there, and I share the joys and frustrations of being a content creator. I share the challenges and how you can help me, and how we can help each other, and how I think I can provide a lot more if I'm able to reach some goals. Yeah, so that's quite interesting. So let me share a bit about those roadblocks that I've seen. So I listed 3 in the Patreon page, and the first and foremost, is you know how you probably noticed this, but in the channel we don't have I do feature a couple of different games from time to time, but I don't really feature everything, right? Especially the example Train Sim World. Let's take that, Train Sim World. I did play it finally at one point, but that's mainly because Alex gifted me a copy. So thanks a lot, Alex, again for that. And if you guys are familiar with the Train Sim scene, Train Sim World has a lot of DLCs, like I don't know, 4 I think at the moment, and I don't have even one. And it's all because of the limitation in the budget. I don't have the money to buy all those DLCs, but I want to show them to you, and I've heard that you guys want to see that as well. And so, and this is a very common thing. This is a very common scenario in this kind of business. Like I want to show you videos. I want to feature videos. I want to make a series. I want to live stream them. I want to entertain you with those new games. But the budget says otherwise. The wallet does not agree. And so I have to skip out on those opportunities that could really make us enjoy the experience more. So right now we're with the current situation, how we're working around that is by me going to the developers directly and working with them to maybe get a copy, a press copy, so I can get it for free, and I can show you guys the game. Yeah, so it's a win-win for everybody. They get free advertising, I get to play the game, you get to see it. It's a win-win-win. Now, unfortunately, not everyone is okay with that kind of scenario. Not all developers, not all publishers are into that thing, because we're not really a big YouTuber, you know. We're not. We are a relatively small channel, and some bigger publishers do not really care for the small fish. They probably think it's like it's not worth the effort. Yeah. So, or maybe they're too busy. They're too busy with interacting with the bigger guys, so they can't really put much attention to the smaller ones. So, but yeah, at the end of the day, we cannot really get everything, and especially like Train Sim. So I've never had a reply from Dovetail, because I think I'm a really small fish when it comes to their level. So I've never been able to get anything from them, and that's why it's very limited. Yeah, so the main goal, the short-term goal of Patreon is to like crowdfund that, crowdsource that. Because by myself cannot afford those DLCs, the new games that are coming out, like Jurassic World Evolution. It's such a very promising game, but I think here in Singapore it's like 70 plus Singapore dollars. Don't know how much it is in USD, maybe around $60. But it's like one of the most expensive games, one of the more expensive games out there. I'm sure it's worth it, but still you have to cross that steep price tag, right? And so with your help, we can crowdsource this. Like everyone can, well, not everyone, but people who have some extra funds can share like as low as $1 a month. And we can find strength in numbers, everyone chip in $1, and eventually we can go and afford that. So every month I can feature a new DLC, a new game, and we're sure that the channel will always have access to those games even if they're expensive. So that roadblock will be completely eradicated. So that's why I thought of Patreon, because why let us be limited with the budget when we can crowdsource stuff and we can create a win-win-win scenario for everybody as well with that kind of model. Now, admittedly, not everyone can spare $1. You might need PayPal, you might need a credit card or something, and not everyone has access to that. So there's absolutely no pressure. But I really recommend that you check it out just to read the article and get my point of view on things. So that's the one of the main goals, one of the main purposes of having a Patreon. So we can get rid of that roadblock. I'm sure you've seen some of the comments that say, play this, play that, or this is out now. And as much as I would love to play those games, cannot. The wallet does not give the go signal, does not give the green light. So we end up having to skip on them, and it's such a huge opportunity loss. We're missing out on a lot sometimes. So that's really what I want in the short term. And it doesn't take too much to fund that, right? I mean, how many subs do we have? 10,000. How many views do we have in a video? I don't know, around 1,000. If even a very small percentage of those people contribute $1 each, then I'm sure we'll have enough to fund the game that we want to buy and we want to see in the channel. And what's more, as I mentioned, if you become a Patreon, you can directly empower me, and you can be like a stakeholder, so you will have a say and you can have a voice, a bigger voice when you're recommending a game. So it's quite an interesting model, becoming a patron, becoming a sponsor. So I'll still have my own say, but oh nice, another train. I'll definitely take that into account as well. Plus there are other benefits, but this is how I see it, and let me share this with you, this point of view. So people might see being patrons differently, but how I see it is like this. When you become a patron, it's because you want to support the content creator directly, right? The artist directly. And when you contribute something, like for example $1, you give that $1 because you are appreciating and supporting what the artist, what the content creator is doing right there and then. Like whatever he's currently doing now, he or she is doing now, you appreciate that and you give something to support that, right? But and everything that you get after that $1 is icing on the cake. So it's because some people look at it the other way around, like, oh, I gave you $1, now you have to work for me. I gave you $1, now that you have to do this. But it's actually the opposite way. you gave $1 because you appreciate what the artist has given you. Like you're supporting it that way. It's not the other way around. That's how I see it. Yes. And so even though the Patreon has rewards, like you get Discord benefits, you get this and that, you get mentioned in the end credits, you are able to participate in the private servers and everything like that. All those rewards are icing on the cake. At the end of the day, the Patreon, the contribution you give is because you support whatever the content creator is currently doing. Yes. That's how I see it, at least. If you have a different point of view, let me know. But I think because I've been listening to a podcast as well, and this is part of the influence on my end. I've been listening to a podcast where the CEO of Patreon was interviewed, and it just sold me. The entire model just sold on me. It's such a smart implementation of technology, going back to our roots of the Patreon system. And it empowers people directly, and you get to have a say. I remember when we were in France before, we had this food tour when we were in France, when we were in Paris, and the tour guide who was taking us on these different small restaurants, not the bigger corporations, but really the simple restaurants owned by the people from that village. He was always mentioning, and I think I mentioned this before as well, he was always mentioning that it is nice to have the power, bring back the consumers, us people, normal people, have such strong power with our wallets. Whatever we can have so much. Whatever we buy, we can choose what we want to buy, and in that way we support that. And if enough people do that in the same way, then that's bringing power back to the people, right? It doesn't matter if the corporations, the big guys, or we can see sometimes as the bad guys. For example, there is a corrupt, there is a very commercialized restaurant, and people can avoid to boycott that. They can decide to go to the smaller ones, which are filled, where their food is done with meticulous care and whatnot. And by directly supporting and buying food from that small restaurant, they empower it, and they essentially bring power to that one. Yeah, so there's really is with the capitalism. I think there is an official term for it. Consumer something. Yeah, very very descriptive, right? But yeah, I really like that concept, because your wallet, your money has so much power, and you can leverage that to really get what you want. Make the most out of it. It's such a nice concept. So we don't really have to feel like we are powerless with all these big companies. Yeah, and it's such a refreshing thought to have. Anyway, so that's why I have a Patreon now, mainly for the games, short term. And the bigger one is it's also related, because the games is like the software, right? But in order to play the games, have to be always up to date with the decent graphics card, the simulation equipment. And right now I do have most of that set. Like, my graphics card is not like the latest, but it's not bad. I have a steering wheel, I have a TrackIR. So in that regard, there is not much help needed for now, but in the future, I'm sure something will come up, and we will want to get us the best experience possible. So you'll see it in the videos, right? Like, if you remember in the ETS2 series, if you go back to the first few episodes, I don't know, 100 episodes, I didn't have TrackIR back then. So I had to, when I was looking left and right, it was clipping like that. Yeah, it was very, I don't know, for me personally, it was very unnatural. Yes, and so when I got TrackIR finally, I was so happy, not only for myself but also for you guys, because if you're watching, and I've been watching a lot of these videos as well, it's for me, it's such a relief to find a video which has natural head tracking like that, natural head movements when looking. It's such a natural feeling and it's such a pleasure to watch. So when you support me at Patreon, then that will also be a sure thing, you know. If we have enough funds, then for sure I will get that. And crowdsourcing is such a powerful thing. Like before, in the olden times, the patron system, only rich guys could afford to be patrons, right? Because you have money to spare, you can fund an artist on your own. But nowadays, you don't even need to be rich. Like $1. Imagine spending $1. Like, what is that? How small is that to your monthly budget? Yeah, I think everyone can afford $1. It's just that not everyone has a bank account maybe, or a credit card, or a PayPal account. I think that's the main limitation. But I think if you're going to talk about $1, everyone can afford that. Even students. Yeah. But yeah, it's all up to the priorities, so no pressure at all. It's a very powerful thing, this crowdsourcing. So you don't really have to shell out a lot. You can stick to that. And still, with the number of people pitching in, it all amounts to something that is significant and has a huge benefit for everybody. Yeah, so I'm really looking forward to it. And while we're at it, we're at the Patreon topic, I want to give a huge thanks to Michael and Jay for being the first 2 patrons. Michael was actually the first one. When the moment I released, I launched the page and I posted about it in the Discord and in YouTube and Facebook and Twitter. I got an email a few minutes after saying Michael pledged something already. So thanks a lot for that, man. So go and check out the Patreon page. I recommend you do. And no pressure on becoming a patron, but it would really mean a lot to me if you read the article and share with me your thoughts and comments on that. Yeah. And the last, so I mentioned I had 3 like main reasons for putting that up. The last reason is, and I really like this concept. Like we're all familiar probably with the saying time is gold, right? Time is gold, time is gold. But actually, and I was I've been very interested in podcasts recently, and I heard this quote. Actually, time is not gold, time is greater, even more than gold. And if you think about it, it makes a lot of sense. Because gold, what is gold? Gold is like money, right? Gold is just a fancier term for money. And money is important for sure. And that's why I have the Patreon in the first place. But if you think about it, in the end, money, you can find ways to earn that back, like Patreon, yeah, or ads or stuff. So there is a way to earn money. But time is something we all have a limited supply of, right? We're not vampires, we're not Highlanders, or maybe some of us are, I don't know, but I'm not. And it's something that one sec, I think I'm getting lost. There's an IKEA here, and I think we should be moving to the right. Okay, going there, right? Okay, good. We're not going to IKEA today. What was I mentioning? Yeah, so gold, money you can earn, but time is something we have limited supply of, and once it's gone, then it's gone. You can't bring it back. And so time is super precious, and I'm more than willing to share my time with you because I love what I'm doing. I love sharing these videos with you, and I love that you're loving the videos too, and we are creating a community out of this. So really huge thank you to everybody. Yeah, and I really think that, I also write that in the article, like I really think that it's one of the best things you can give. It's time, because at the end of the day, that's something that you can only give so much of. And if you decide to give that to a certain person, to certain people, then that means so much. Yeah, if you're giving time to them, making time for them. And so it's I really like that that point of view. And so time is gold is the third reason why I put up the Patreon, because if some people are willing to contribute more, like I cannot ask back for time, right? But, and as I say that in the article, at least if with you guys on my side, with your support, I can get the next best thing. So yeah, that's the third reason. But yeah, mainly Patreon is in short term the funding for games, because I'm sure you guys want to see the latest games as much as I would want to play them. But yeah, that's my Patreon pitch. Sorry, that went super long. And I know some people are not really a fan of that model, because you will probably think, well, I'm getting this for free now, why would I need to pay you? And that's totally fine. Yeah, you already pay by using ads. And actually, in line with that, sorry, just one bit more. It's actually a very interesting topic, a very interesting perspective. Giving $1 a month is equivalent to you watching 1,000 videos of mine per month. That's how big of an impact it is. Like you would imagine what is $1, right? Dollar is like spare change, something you, I don't know, pick up from the floor, someone drops, or some change you get when you buy coffee or when you buy snacks or something. But that is equivalent to you watching 1,000 videos of mine every month. Right? That's like how much you contribute by just giving $1. And if you do that, like I know some people are very are fans of like blocking the ads and everything. And you can do that for sure. But if you do that, then I don't have income in YouTube, because ads will not play. So that's really detrimental for YouTubers in general. But if you already provide that $1, that's equivalent to 1,000 views. Roughly equivalent, yeah, super roughly equivalent. It's much more complicated than that, but for discussion's sake, 1,000. If you contribute that $1, then I'm more than happy. Like, I don't really mind if you block the ads, because you've already contributed so much. Yeah, and if you get like a smooth experience in YouTube, then I don't really mind. So it doesn't cut off, the video doesn't cut off, doesn't inject some other product in there. Yeah, and that's exactly what I'm saying, like, right? Like empowering the people, the consumers directly, putting money in your wallet, getting a direct worth. You get what you pay for, things like that. Oh crap. Okay, I think I made it. Almost went beyond the speed limit there. Also, have you guys noticed this next gen textures are actually very nice here in the UK? Looks very clean, like very crisp, and the frame rate is not bad. I think the next gen textures work quite well in this area, because the next gen textures are kind of a bit more performance intensive, I think. But in the UK scenario, there are not a lot of objects in here, so it's not really laggy, And having better textures really just improves the visual feel of the game, and not sacrificing any frame rate. It's not too noticeable, right? It's pretty cool. I like that. So yeah, I think this episode will all be I was preparing to answer some questions, but that pitch on Patreon went a bit too long. I'm really sorry about that, but yeah. That's basically how it would go. And I'm really interested in hearing your thoughts about it. Let me know what you think. Actually, I can make this I can also include this video in the Patreon page, right? Like a sample of what I do and an explanation of what Patreon is. And this might work actually. So yes, let me know what you think about it. Let me know if you're against it, you are for it. You are for it, but you can't afford it. And I would completely understand. I wouldn't be like, oh, it's just $1. Of course you can afford it. No, not really. Because I listen to a lot of podcasts. I'm really into personal finance recently, and completely understand that. There's this podcast that I listen to. It's called Afford Anything. And the main concept is you can afford anything you want. Yeah, anything you want, you can afford that. But you cannot afford everything. You have to choose. There's always a price. There's always a trade-off. If you want this, then you don't get that. So you have to choose well. And it's all a matter of priorities. And I completely understand, right? If you're saving up for something, then every bit of dollar counts. So no pressure at all. But if you have $1 to spare or more, then I'm more than happy to take that and bring it back in. So I won't use that for my coffee or anything. Maybe some of it, but most of it, especially in the beginning, will get funneled back into the channel. So we'll have the latest games. We can finally, and I have this in the page, we can finally buy those pesky, super expensive Train Sim DLCs. Yeah, we can all have a very nice experience having more trains. We're sure that we can afford and play the latest games. And yeah, we can continue interacting. I even have some set goals in there, like when you reach $50, then I can purchase the games, a new game every month, for sure, because $50 is more than enough for a new game. And maybe I can buy myself a latte or something as a reward. And when we reach $100, we can have like a server, a private server even. Because $100 I think is more than enough to fund a private server. Oh, let's turn left here first because there's a discoverable. So I said there in the Patreon that when we hit $100, when we get funding for $100 a month, then I can afford to rent out a private server. Maybe a Farming Simulator 17 server where patrons can join. So patrons who contribute $5 or more can join the server, and we can all play together, multiplayer, and maybe stream it even and do episodes on it, I've always loved that concept, but I have always not had enough budget to fund something like that. So it's always been a dream for me. But with your contributions, with your help, we can make that a reality. So you guys might like that. And then I think that the biggest goal I have is $200 right now. If we reach that in monthly contributions, then I'll prioritize, and I'll stream 3 times a week instead of 2 times. Yeah, more streams the better. It means we can feature more games. We can interact directly with each other. And anyway, all these VODs, all the stream footages are featured in YouTube anyway. So even if you can't join live, you'll still see the benefits of that. So it's a win-win-win as always. Yeah, those are the main goals I have right now. But I was also thinking of something, and I wasn't able to include it there. Maybe I'll add it in sometime. Maybe by the time you're watching it, it's there. Or maybe some things have changed. But I was thinking of what do you guys think of having a green screen for the stream? I know some people said it's not really required. Can I squeeze in? Thank you. But I was thinking of getting a green screen, or exploring having a green screen, so I have like a transparent background when you see my face, and I can do lots of things with that. Like it would be much easier to like have like a dedicated oh, why am I going here? One sec. It's the next building. Crap, my bad. This is a truck dealer. Thank you, sorry about that. But yeah, maybe I can set up a green screen or something, make a DIY kind of thing. Because I found online that there are some stores that sell that green cloth or green fabric, and then I just need a clothes hanger or something to put on my back, make it large enough to cover the entire back, and voila, it's a green screen. And then do some setups in the OBS software and lighting and stuff. It's probably a lot more complicated than that, but yeah, if you get enough funding, maybe you can explore that as well. But you guys let me know what you think about green screens in the first place. Is it not necessary? Would it be helpful? Because I was thinking, does it make it less immersive? Like for example, I'm trucking like this during the stream. I'm trucking like this, or I'm, I don't know, playing Subnautica and being underground or being in space. And then you see my webcam, you see me, and you see me, behind me is a couch, and I'm at my home, like that. Does it break immersion in any way? Or is it fine? That's something I want to get your 2 cents on. Because if I have a green screen, then I can remove all the background, you know? It will be a much more, like, realistic experience. Like you wouldn't be transported from space to my living room and then to space back again whenever you look at me and then look at the game. I don't know. You guys let me know. Okay? But I'm open to suggestions. There we go. Dirty Scania for the win. It would be such a shame that this will be the one that is going to be shown in the Patreon where I have a dirty truck, but that's how it ended up. But yeah. So this is a video all about Patreon. I hope that didn't riddle your ears, but if it did, let me know in the comments anyway, and just keep it civil, and we'll have a healthy discussion about it. Let me know if you are totally against it and thinks that it's a sham or something, and I'd love to hear your views about it, you know, because I'm sure there are other perspectives out there, and that's what makes the world such an amazing place. So many different points of view, and we can always have a healthy discussion even if we don't agree with each other. So let me know in the comments. I'm looking forward to them, and catch you there. In the meantime, if you did like this video, please don't forget to hit the thumbs up button, hit the like button. We are on our way to Ireland finally, and I'll clean my truck for the next episode for sure. Anyway, thank you for watching, guys. Please make sure to hit the thumbs up, the like button if you did enjoy, and yeah, share with your friends and comment away. I would love to discuss this topic with you specifically. Patreon, all about Patreon this episode. Anyway, thank you for watching. Have a nice day. Clumsy trucking, everybody. Catch you in the next one. See you soon. And did you notice that we lost our lights? We're left it with 2 lights now. Maybe I should bring it back in the next episode as well. Anyway, thank you, and bye-bye. It doesn't want to go. Come on. Bear with me. One more time. There we go. See you guys.